Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi grananti ye Bhurida jana Bhuvi grananti ye Bhurida jana. The Gospel. Then the masters, at the master's bidding, he and Sidhu sat on the floor. Sri Ramakrishna asked them, "Where do you live? What's your occupation? Why have you come to Baranagar?" M answered the questions, but noticed now and then the master seemed to be absent-minded. Later, he learned that this mood is called bhava, ecstasy. It is like the state of the angler who has been sitting with his rod. The fish comes and swallows the bait, and the float begins to tremble. The angler is on the alert. He grips the rod, watches the float steadily and eagerly. He will not speak to anyone. Such was the state of Sri Ramakrishna's mind. Later, M heard and himself noticed that Sri Ramakrishna would often go into this mood after dusk, sometimes becoming totally unconscious of the outer world. First day itself, he is seeing Master's ecstasy, ecstatic moods. This is expansion of consciousness. We are conscious of a little thing of this world. We are not conscious of many things, even at global level, or still far is the higher levels of existence. Now, when we sleep, we are conscious now, this consciousness is withdrawn. When we enter into dream state, our consciousness is very little, limited to some past experiences. We have consciousness has decreased. When I still enter into deep sleep, I will see my consciousness still getting. This is manifested consciousness. My consciousness I have manifested externally to understand. I am conscious of the external thing, self-conscious and conscious of the environment. This consciousness is different from the consciousness of my existence. This is manifested consciousness, like sunshine, and there is sun within. The sun is infinite and the rays are not infinite. So the world that we see outside is very little and small. When we enter into sleep, the last point that we go is called Bindu. After reaching that in the second stage of deep sleep, our consciousness expands into the universal consciousness, the cosmic consciousness, the Ishvara, the Lord of the universe, and experience great joy. Its own pristine purity of existence. It is there, the self, the Jivatman. Now, after some time it withdraws because karmic load, our own karmic load, and our desires, ambitions, our tendencies, all are drawing me back to the waking state. So I condense back to the point. My real existence is the universal consciousness, being one with God. But my karmic bondage has made me experience myself as a limited consciousness. This consciousness, as it projects out, like a funnel it projects out. My real consciousness, which is the Atman, is as it is, untouched. It is all-pervading and beyond. But this, just like the space is all-pervading and a pot is kept, the pot space, which appears to be different from the external space, because of the limitation, it thinks itself to be small, this pot space, but space is one akhanda that it doesn't understand. So this consciousness is bound by the law of karma. This expands. As we project out, it comes to zero level almost and projects forth. All the pending things get activated. I enter into dream state. Still expansion, I come to the waking state, identify with this body and look around. My consciousness, after coming to waking state, limits to my family, my food, my earnings, my keeping the house tidy, and exercises. This is what we see, the whole. Now, my consciousness is limited, extremely limited. Suppose it expands a little more. We bring value into life. Oh, neighborer is there, these people are there, they are just like me. If I cheat them, if I talk harshly, they get hurt. I should not do that. All this counts and it becomes slowly our values of life. Still expands, then we will see the universe, the vast expanse of nature, Mother Nature. The question, what is life? Why there is suffering? One is suffering, one is enjoying. So all these differences, so many, we try to enter into the secrets of nature and understand what is life. That much of expansion. Still expansion. I will bring from values, ideals into life. I am going to live for this purpose. I am going to live for nation. I am going to live for service of the people. I am going to live for God realization. All these ideals come when my consciousness expands. Now this consciousness, when expands further from the cosmic level and beyond, man becomes unaware of the external world. Because as he expands to the cosmic level, his personal existence dissolves in nature and becomes I to become expand. I am expanding, pervading everything. My body is a part of this universe. My mind is a part of this universe. My feelings are a part of this universe. All these belong to, from body, mind, senses, all these external things, coverings belong to nature and my own spiritual existence. This awareness. Now, when I lose my bodily existence, becomes a part of this, and I become the whole. The part merges in the whole, and I become the whole. body merges to be one with the Virat, cosmic existence, with the material. This is material body, matter. Mind is matter. And my spiritual existence alone I am following, identifying it. What could be God, which is all pervading? Everything it pervades. Just like space pervades the entire universe, God pervades even the space and beyond. So when the God consciousness comes, the individuality, the personality dissolves, and personal identity dissolves. Bodily identity, physical identity dissolves. I am not there. And this is the state of ecstasy. Ecstasy is where, in the relative world, I am going to experience the transcendental. Means my consciousness, in my awareness, it is there which is infinite, which is eternal. So, when after dusk, Sri Ramakrishna is to now and then enter into this state. The Sandhya is going away, and as a sadhaka we see earlier, he is to, as soon as it is night, everybody has taken food, all are going to bed, he will lie down for some time. When everyone is asleep, he will run to the forest. In dark forest area, he enters and sits there for meditation. And whole night he will be thinking of God. Early in the morning again he comes. Daytimes he will sing the glorious names and glories of God. Divine Mother, in front of Divine Mother, he is singing the glory of Mother. So we see how he was spending whole day. So as soon as dusk, that habit of total dedication to Divine, to drop the world for totally, even all the aspects and memories of the world, to discard and be in the Divine consciousness is his habitual state. Yeah, at all times, his natural state is to remain absorbed in God. And to bring down his mind to the physical level of all ours, to talk to us was great. With great difficulty, he will bring the mind down. And its tendency is to go back. He asked the question, who are you, from where you are coming, what is the purpose you have come and all. By that time there is again a pull. And he is absent-minded. He is asking the question forcefully, bringing the mind somehow to the level of us people. And by no time it is slipping away again, that mind, back to Mother's feet. This is what the Master Mahashay, that is Mahendranath Gupta M, observes, sees. This is called bhava. Bhava, not bhava. Bhava. Bhava is world. Bhava is moods. Bhava. Ecstasy. It is like the state of angler. When a person is fishing with rod, his rod and his bait alone is his attention. He doesn't see here and there, especially when the marker, that is the float, starts shaking. His whole attention is there. The moment it goes below the water, he pulls it out. That fish has caught it and is struggling to escape. but it cannot escape. So when the with rod is sitting, and when the float starts shaking, the fish is somewhere near or going to catch now. So his whole attention is the float will sink and I lift it. So he doesn't talk to anyone, divert his attention to anything. The whole attention means focused. Mind is focused. Mind is focused on God now, on the transcendental existence, the all-pervading Mother Nature, the all-pervading consciousness, the Ishvara. In him, the mind is lost. Awareness is full and mind is lost. The Purna Prajna, it's called Prajna, awareness is called Prajna. We have bodily existence, then the pranic existence, that is the energy level in us, and the senses, then mind, beyond the mind is intellect. All these belongs to nature, from body to intellect. Beyond intellect, between the absolute and the relative, there is no man's land. Beyond the intellect, before the Atman, there is no man's land. This is called prajna, awareness. I am aware. Awareness is different from mind, from intellect, from senses and all that. All these belong to Prakriti and that belongs to Chaitanya. In that prajna, if the japa given by Guru, God's name, enters, it will remain permanently. Ajapa japa begins. Ajapa japa begins only when the Ishta mantra given by Guru enters into the prajna kshetra in us. Beyond that is our real existence, Chaitanic existence, the spiritual existence in the prajna kshetra. So the prajna kshetra is sometimes little of awareness of God comes and disappears. I am aware of God for a few minutes, even when I sit for meditation, and some thoughts come and drag the awareness. Our awareness starts getting focused on external things, from God to the world. Again we make efforts, a little of divine awareness comes. We try to worship Him. By that time again mind goes away. And this awareness is little we have given to God. Whole thing is superimposed by the world awareness. I am aware of the world, I am aware of family, I am aware of property, but not of God. Constant awareness is not there. Constant awareness of the world is there. But this awareness of the world cannot enter into the prajna kshetra. It gets superimposed. It's like cloud covering the sun. It covers. It cannot enter. It is adsorption and not absorption. It doesn't get absorbed. The world awarenesses do not get absorbed. But all spiritual awarenesses get absorbed into the prajna kshetra. God's name, the Guru given mantra, enters into prajna kshetra and then begins the ajapa japa. Without doing japa, spontaneously japa comes out. So this prajna kshetra, when it is little by little constant presence of God, then you will be feeling the unbroken presence of God with you. Unbroken presence of God with you. The unbroken presence of God with you comes when the awareness is filled partially, even 5%, 10%, 90% is empty. It doesn't. 5% is, then you start feeling the unbroken presence of God with you. Maybe very little, The intensity may be very little, but it is constantly is there with you. When it becomes half your awareness is filled with God, what would be your state? You are intensely feeling the divine awareness. You will attend to everything, but nothing enters into you. Mind handles and leaves it then and there and comes out peacefully. The world doesn't harm you, disturb you. Your inner peace and in your inner joy are not affected even by the bodily states. Suppose you are met with an accident, you have fallen down, broken the bone. You understand, but you don't, that will not disturb your inner peace. So, the prajna, suppose that whole prajna kshetra is filled with divine presence, the whole prajna kshetra, the awareness, my awareness is fully filled with God and God alone, then it is called Purna Prajna. Purna Prajna is a state where the whole world disappears and whole God alone is filled in our awareness. This is what we see in Sri Ramakrishna. Every now and then he will be missing from this world. He is always Purna Prajna. The whole absorption and focus is on the divine. His awareness is filled with God and God alone. This we call God intoxicated state. God intoxicated state. Filled with divine awareness and divine awareness alone. The world awareness stops away. This he says, now and then he becomes totally unaware of the external world. Such was the state of Sri Ramakrishna's mind. Later M. heard and himself noticed that Sri Ramakrishna would often go into this mood after dusk, sometimes becoming totally unconscious of the external world, outer world. External world is totally unconscious and divine awareness is totally filled in his awareness, in his consciousness. His unconsciousness to the world. He is fully conscious of the divine, of God. He becomes unconscious so much. M. Perhaps you want to perform your evening worship. In that case, may we take leave, may we take our leave. See, we see everything from our standpoint, our experiences. And they see something else from their standpoint. That's why we see what teacher teaches is not at all what the student understands. Teacher is teaching, now Sri Ramakrishna or Vivekananda or Holy Mother and Ramakrishna you live. They are talking beyond, with full awareness of the absolute and relative. Ordinary realized souls like Ramana Maharshi and all these people, when they speak, Shankaracharya and all, they are speaking from such heights. Their understanding of God and realizations are immeasurable. When they say Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, they mean something else. When we say Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, we see something else. How much of difference. That is why what is taught is not always what is learned by the disciple. There is a gap, huge gap, unimaginable. He is seeing the whole, and we are seeing extremely small part, and with that we are trying to grasp. Here the prayer in the beginning, before we sit at the feet of our Guru, makes our awarenesses clear from the past tendencies, and divine grace and nature's help enters us to widen our view. You see in front of me there is camera, it is catching. Now he goes, sometimes goes and then toing, 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 toing. It wide range, it shrinks back. So God, when you pray and take up a book, when you read the gospel, you have to pray to the Divine Mother. Mother, what is intended? Make me understand at least to some extent. I am understanding this from my standpoint. What is the intention of Thakur's telling? What did Thakur mean when he said, I may not be able to understand, and give me at least a little higher understand that I am able to know the truth in my own way a little more. So when our prayers are there, then it widens. My understanding widens a little more. May not be to the vast extent of realization, but to a higher understanding. What I am claiming. His mother is taking me 4 steps ahead and making me see the world. I have to go to the top of the mountain and look at the world. Beyond the horizon, I want to see. But I am at the foot of the hill with all trees and surrounding me, and other small hillocks covering me. I am in a valley. I am not able to see a little beyond. As if I am packed in a room. So I have to go beyond. Mother will take me to the terrace with prayer and make me see a little more, little more, little more. So prayers have got an important part to play in our understanding of scriptures, understanding of the Master's words. How do we know? It will start working within us. Otherwise, it will be like school education, information feeding, without life getting transformed. If you are understood a little more deeper, then it will transform your life. Otherwise not. Transformation is the proof of your having read this book or any book. Bhagavad Gita you are reading. It must be absorbed in your life. It must be reflected in your life. Reflecting in mind reflection. Again and again, trying to contemplate on its meaning. Then it gets slowly absorbed. You get digested. You get the food, whatever you have read, understood, it gets absorbed in your system. It reflects in your talks, it reflects in your actions, it reflects in your feelings. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, it will be some meaning beyond what the others see, others hear. So we are not turning our mind to the psychological understanding of positivity, negativity and all things like that. Positive thinking, no. Thinking of reality. It is mixed up, good and bad are mixed up. Reality and unreal is mixed up. To see good and bad is still in the prison house. Being in prison house, you are trying to see good and bad. You may see good in place of bad. It is a psychological transformation. But to see the real in the place of unreal is spiritual evolution. Well, we see tomorrow. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrutavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha.